welcome back to Product King. I'm Lourdes.
And I'm Clara.
Welcome back to episode 2. Today we'll be talking about challenges that small business face, and we'll be going through a number of points that we've noted down.
Yeah. So what do you think are your first initial thoughts on the topic?
Definitely financial constraints, lack of funding, not being able to get capital to start your business. That's the biggest hurdle for a lot of small businesses.
I think my initial thoughts are just, I think there's a lot of born entrepreneurs in terms of small business in Namibia and Africa in general.
Yeah.
And I think there's a few more hurdles that we need to climb than your general, first world countries.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're a third world country, so I think they are doable. I think some of them,
Especially operating in Africa.
yes, 100%.
We can get straight into our first topic. That brings us to our first topic. So financial constraints, lack of funding. Let's dive into that.
Okay, cool.
Definitely the lack of funding, depending on which country you're based or on which continent. For a lot of African entrepreneurs, it's really a big challenge, a big hurdle, and that delays a lot of them from even just starting their business. They have a lot of ideas, they have a lot of plans, they have all these great things they want to do, but just simply not having enough funding, and even not just the start of the business, but midway through the business, not having enough capital to really scale the business.
And then just before we actually go on, I think we just need to note the difference between, you have your SMEs, there are SMEs in Namibia, and I think across the world, so that's small, medium businesses or businesses. So we have your SMEs, the informal and formal ones, and then the informal ones are the ones that are unregistered by government. It's your small traders, it's your lady that is doing kapana, or selling on the street, like street vendors, a lady selling from her backyard. Usually they're unregistered businesses, usually. And then you have your formal SMEs, which is your medium enterprises, usually from 3 employees to about, I think the average is 100. I just need to double check that. 100, and they should be getting in a certain amount of revenue or income per month. I think one of the big constraints is branding and marketing. And I think if you go back, and we will just check on the link below, we're going to add a previous video that we did on why it's so difficult for small businesses or businesses in Africa to intertrade. We spoke on this topic of branding and marketing, so I think that's one of the issues as well, that entrepreneurs and small businesses struggle a little bit with your marketing and branding. Even though we spoke about social media, they have all of those things in place, but it's probably not being used to its full effect. So I think that's another thing.
Do you think if a person is individually employed, is that person a small business? Or what?
Yes,
say an aunt on the street who's selling her fat cakes, is she a small business, or even if she's not registered?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship is just basically the trading. It's a business person, right? So as long as you're trading a product or giving a service, it's a business, it's an entrepreneur. So obviously there is your sole traders. There's probably another topic. You guys can let us know if that's a topic we should get into.
Yes,
where we say there's a sole trader, there's partnerships, where we just speak about the different types of businesses that you can sort of register. But yes, I definitely think it is.
They are small businesses.
Sure.
Third point, so talent management and retain skilled workers. I think that's another challenge for a lot of the small businesses. As I did mention earlier, some businesses are literally run by one person. So for them to be able to hire other employees, usually the lack of funding again, not having enough money to be able to pay those skilled employees or just anyone to assist or help them. So you have to end up doing sort of everything by yourself. A lot of the road small business owners, ladies that sell fat cakes, fruits, vegetables, They would set up by themselves. They would have to unpack in the mornings. Their routine would be, really leaving home very early, unpacking all their whatever products they're selling for the day, and then making, not even really having any business skills or entrepreneurship skills, but as long as, they're trading.
Yes, 100%. Usually, it's also difficult for small entrepreneurs or small businesses to retain skills because sometimes they don't have enough funding to pay for the skills. So maybe they may have the skill for like the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then when they reach a financial hurdle, then that person needs to go, and they kind of start. But so that's just to add on to point number 3. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to point 4. I think that's enough for that.
Sure.
Next point is competition. Larger businesses, I think that's a challenge for starting as a small business, especially because they have more capital, they
100%.
have more skilled employees, they have bigger market capital for them to be able to trade. And then of course also what I have realized with a lot of small businesses is more copy-paste businesses. People are kind of doing what everyone else is doing. A good example would be Namibia. I see a lot of like car wash business, and then I see a lot of bar, and then also home shops. We call them home shops, hookah shops. In South Africa, I think they call them spaza shops.
It is a struggle because again, it just falls back to the financial part, and not just financial. There's something called there's barriers to market to entry, right? So your small businesses generally, obviously, like we said, it's like usually, not all the time. Usually they're small traders, so they trade. You're buying and selling services, like very small things. However, if a multinational, not a multinational, even just like a medium-sized business comes, because of price, or there's a price competition, for example, they can crush them very quickly.
For small businesses, is the competition really more with the other small business, since everybody's kind of doing the same thing, or more the medium-sized business? Which one do you think is?
So it depends. So for example, if we take the food industry, right? So you have a person, everybody has their customers, usually, but again, maybe it's another topic we should probably look into. It's there are different types of sort of ways that people compete with each other. So one is obviously there's barrier to entry if it's a bigger competition, but everybody's competing for clients. For the same, maybe not the same kind of client, but we're competing for clients. So food business, again, like I just mentioned. So you have the food business, a tate on the street that is a taxi driver will probably go to a lady that sells on the road, which is what we call kapana, or like street food vendors and that type of thing. However, that day, say for example, it's payday, he would rather probably get Kentucky Fried Chicken, which is a multinational that is also now sort of indirectly or directly competing with the street vendors. So that means on those days, street vendor is not getting the money, it is KFC getting the money. Does it make sense? So it depends. There is direct and indirect.
What do you think are the booming small businesses that you see right now in the market? For me, I'm thinking more beauty. Beauty is really
so beauty is like beauty. Like everybody's a beautician. I'm seeing a lot of little spas popping up.
Waxing.
Hair, like beauty parlor.
I think that's one of the biggest.
I think hair selling business, like your wigs.
That's also
another. And when
we business, I think more beauty, hair, a lot of more like to look. So it's like aesthetics-based businesses. Even aesthetics itself, like with Botox, filling, that's also really a booming business.
Definitely. And I think it's an effect of, obviously, I think your social media is a big
and I think fashion, for me, I think fashion is also one of the fastest growing, especially because everybody wants to look nice because of social media.
And it makes sense.
Like everybody,
I look cute all the time. Like I wear my little jersey. Like you want to look cute, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's everyone wants to look put up.
So are we done with the point? Sorry guys, we actually did note this stuff down, so we are looking down into it sometimes.
See if it is actually
okay. Is there any other topic that we may have missed or that we need to just quickly delve into?
One more. Let's add lack of financial understanding for small businesses. That's, I think, a big one. Definitely a big one. That's like a topic on its own. And I think it's also a very good business to start for people that are good in financial
literacy.
Financial literacy, teaching small business how to manage your financial statements, all of that. That's something that's very, very important, because a lot of people could be really good at starting their business, but then they don't know the financial aspect, how to run the business, your income, your expenses, drawings, all of that.
The mismanagement of money is also one of the factors of why some of these businesses fail.
Oh yeah. And also for a lot of the small business, they also have the idea that the small business is like it's like their money for them to be able to take out.
Which is probably fair, because I mean, like, if you're like a solo entrepreneur, that's probably the reason why you have this little side hustle.
And the only income you have, actually, for most of them. That's your only income.
Yeah, that's your only income.
Yeah.
So it's basically like you're going to get a salary, but I think it's more just the miseducation or not understanding the financial aspect of finance. I agree 100%. That's probably like the second after like financial constraints.
Yeah, that's the biggest. So then the next one is operational demands and time management. We did touch on it. If you are a small business and you are running it by yourself, you're employing yourself, you're doing everything yourself, you're doing the marketing, the sales, product, whatever type of business you are doing, you can get burnt out. And then I think balancing growth and quality.
Yeah, I think it touches on to just what you just said now. I think balancing growth is exactly what you're saying. If you're doing all of these, all the functional tasks of what a business is supposed to do, your marketing, sales, you're the one employing people, human resources, your operations itself, it can hinder growth. And then the quality of service as well, because sometimes, because entrepreneurs, I mean, eventually your service is probably needed or wanted, right? And then they get now, maybe you used to service 10 clients.
Yes.
Suddenly you have a demand for 50 clients.
Oh yeah.
Right? And again, you haven't employed more people, or something may have happened, or something is happening within the business. You're not able to meet those demands. So you used to do 10 customers, you suddenly have 50, and you only had one, say, delivery car to deliver all of these people. It's lunchtime, everybody's ordering like food packs, and you cannot deliver this. So
you can't meet your demand.
100%.
Especially with product-based businesses, like the quality of products, especially for small businesses. It's just, some products are good, but then once you do have that high demand, you definitely can't meet the quality. And if that is not there, it's really difficult to keep those customers.
Yeah.
And what about services businesses in Africa or in Namibia? How do you think small businesses are really maintaining that? Because there's a lot of complaints with small business service delivery, because they're just not professional. They don't know how to, work with customer service.
I think it's a different topic. However, it sort of locks or is in line with what it is that we're talking about. That again, if their demand grows, it's likely that they're unable to meet the demand unless they have gone through a process of expanding while the business expands. I think it is across the world. In Africa, it's a bit more. No, it's in Africa. I think it's a world problem for all SMEs. But I do think that we can do better with service. I've had a few mishaps with small businesses in Namibia myself, but I do think that there's room for growth. And I think it's just sometimes it's just a thing of education, right? Because some people get into a business because it's an opportunity that stumbled, but they may not necessarily know the know-how, or this is how hospitality works, and it's all about training, and that's training and development is also a very big element. In like small businesses. It doesn't matter what business.
And I think some of the times they can be very good with having your small business, but then just because the service sucks, a lot of them end up losing customers. I've had personal experience, and I just don't need to go back. The last point that we have is navigating long-term goals for small businesses.
So there's this rule that generally comes, this is a that planning is basically the foundation of any business or any person's life.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of the times, again, we stumble on opportunities.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that they have a long-term view
Yes.
around this business.
Yes.
And that's one of the challenges. Well, at least I think. So some people just do it because it's like, it's part of life and that,
It's
it's
quick money.
Yeah.
Quick money.
So I think there's a planning aspect as well with SMEs. I mean, you do find a few. I mean, I'm an SME myself, so I'm just speaking from experience. You do find those that, again, we're not saying not all SMEs are planning, not all SMEs are organized, not all SMEs, deliver like good service or bad service. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is sometimes we do find those that have stumbled on opportunity and they never had a long-term view around it. So it is a challenge because you're basically just going like day by day
your operations and then
but I think
bigger picture.
It is a challenge. So yeah, that's
bigger
that's
picture.
my
Is there anything else you want to, final summary of anything you want to say?
Yeah, so I think just final thoughts is just, look, it is difficult to do business in Africa. Again, we do have financial constraints. I do know that there is a lot of work that has, like there's a lot of organizations that are giving funding. Again, some of these guys are not trained to be able to do presentations for this funding. It is challenging, but again, there's nothing that cannot be done. So I think with training and development and trying to see how to source funds, which is a hurdle in itself, and hopefully very soon we're able to get on people that are actually involved in the funding aspects of SME. I know right now that the Ministry of Trade, but let me get that correction.
Yeah.
Has given out I think funding of 250 million for SMEs and youth. So those are the stuff that we want to speak on this channel of ours, that we're able to sort of hook up people, with the opportunity to be able to basically get the stuff that are lacking within their business.
Yeah.
And that's our design.
From my final thoughts, definitely there's gonna be challenges with small businesses. I think not even just with small businesses, just growing your business, scaling your business, depending where your business is, there's always gonna be challenges. You just need to navigate your way around it.
Sure.
And you have to be persistent and not give up, especially if that's something that you really want to pursue. And I think that makes you a better leader and makes you grow as well as a small business, and you can only grow from those challenges. And I think that's what's important. And there's actually just no excuse if you really wanna achieve your goal.
For sure.
I agree. And there's definitely a lot of improvement. I think there's a lot of training, there's a lot of funding happening, especially for women, especially in Africa as well. There's a lot of funding, there's a lot of work being done, and I think they're doing a good job so far. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this video and this episode. We're hoping to see you guys on the next one. And I hope we're gonna have a nicer topic as well. I think the topics are really nice for entrepreneurship. And
if you guys have, of course, any questions, anything you guys would want us to talk about specifically, you're welcome to comment down below, and we could dive into that, or even add on to or do an addition to this.
Yes, like a part two.
Yeah.
So so we thank you. I'm Clara again, and this is Lourdi. See you on the next episode.
Don't forget to comment
and subscribe
and like this video. We hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Peace. Why do you always get up like that?